Dree. You can find me on Instagram as explicit_Dree. I also do bartending at Dree's Pick Me Up on Instagram.
Mm. Nico now. Instagram is NICHO_NOW. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robin, and you can find me at it's Robin __ on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And yeah.
Why go on? It's your boy Flo, Black Magic Flow _ in front of that. You already know.
All right. Yeah, what's adulting to y'all?
Okay. Well,
Handling your responsibilities.
I was just about to say accountability.
Accountability.
That's a good one.
I feel like that's adulting, taking accountability.
Do you feel like that's the one of the biggest differences between not being an adult and being an adult is the accountability you have to hold?
I feel like, yeah, because I feel like when you're immature, you don't take accountability for a lot of things that you've done. To where when you're older and you're more mature, you're taking more accountability. Like, yeah, I did play a part. It takes two to tango. So.
And then aligning those priorities. The priorities is that's
Yeah.
key. Because some people will think they're adulting just because their schedule is filled up with, doing things, just being busy. But being busy and prioritizing, two different things. Two different things.
Doing the right thing.
You're doing the right things, not things that don't matter to the, your overall goal you're trying to actually accomplish and what you need done for, just general maintenance.
yeah, I would say accountability priorities, they're definitely up there. I would say another part of adulting is emotional intelligence. Having the bandwidth and the emotional capacity to be able to handle being an adult and what comes with that, because there are different challenges every single day. And I feel like if you're not emotionally capable of handling those things, it's going to be a really rough challenge for you.
Crash out.
Yeah, crashing out, actually. That's how we have a lot of adults crashing out, because it's the accountability of not being able to hold space for your feelings and then reacting to those instead of taking the time to sit back and reevaluate what you did or your part in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, the stakes are higher when you're an adult, versus when we're young. It's an auntie or mom, dad, somebody there to kind of soften the blows of your mistakes. But once you're adult, you kind of take full, regardless if you want to take full responsibility or accountability or not, it's going to fall on you.
You gotta eat that.
You gotta eat,
You gotta eat that.
gotta eat whatever you did, whatever you put on your plate, that's yours.
What would you pop-up question based off of what y'all just said? So prioritizing, accountability, and emotional intelligence. Those are three big aspects of it. What was the moment in time that y'all feel like, oh damn, I'm an adult. This is yeah. We're here now. Like, what was that moment?
It's a good question.
We were just speaking about car insurance when I got that car insurance bill, and I guess when you get your first, I guess big bills, essentially like rent, car insurance, life insurance, 401ks. That's kind of the moment where it's like, oh, money is a part of this, and you got to learn how to actually finance your bills and be responsible with that. You can't just go to the club every Saturday and blow 400, 500 on a section or something or a bottle. Because then how are you going to pay for rent next week?
Like
Car
mine
repair.
was when I got that call from my dad. I'm just like, yeah, babe, you're going to have to find your own insurance.
Yeah. Are we talking health insurance?
Yeah.
Health insurance? Yeah, that 24 cap? Yeah.
No, mine was 26.
Oh,
yeah.
26.
I heard it was a veteran. Yeah, he got that one. So it's just like when I got that call, like, yeah, you're going to have to find. I was like, well, where do I go?
Yeah.
Who do I call? Like, it. Yeah.
Who do you run to?
Yes.
I'll probably say my first credit card bill.
Ooh.
Like I didn't even understand credit cards. They said, oh, I got $300 on this card. Okay, cool. But then it comes back, oh, you got to pay $500 because you didn't pay as you were going. You just were swiping until no facts, until you can't swipe anymore. But you got to pay that money back. That's somebody else's money. It's not yours. So I was like, oh, this is real.
With interest.
With
interest. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
credit is a really big thing, especially the fact that they don't teach how to be proper in your
Yeah.
credit and how to actually manage that, specifically when it comes to like what's your ARP on that, what's the interest on that, you know? Those are things that are definitely important to learn, and it kind of sucks that it's a process that you learn as you go through adulthood, but once you know it, you know it. You're not going to miss that payment on the 15th.
Yeah, and be thankful for the parents that do teach
Mm.
their kids about that
Absolutely.
early on. So yeah, I would say that.
I
What?
think it's a more common thing too now that we start to realize that the things that we should have learned in our earlier years we don't learn until that time of when
Yeah.
you get that big bill. Like these things should have been again prioritized way
Yeah,
before
that's why
because
it's very fortunate to have parents
Yeah.
that do. Because I'm not saying that a lot of parents don't, but it's some parents that give props to they do. Like, okay, no, don't do this, don't do,
Yeah.
So, but it's all in your choice of you can listen to your parents or you cannot. So that comes to play too. So it's not just having those parents, it's you take accountability for yourself.
Yeah.
Basically.
What high school class do they teach these acronyms like ARP and all that stuff? Like where are we supposed to? They need to have a class literally for acronyms that you need to know once you're 21.
yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff they do in the commercials, they talk really fast, and they're just like, you can get a brand new car, 0% interest percent down, AARP. You're like, all right, that sounds cool. You go sign yourself up like on a 360 deal.
Yeah.
You can be hurt.
I would definitely, it'd be home economics.
Oh,
That's what they used to teach all the way up until the 90s when they started rolling that back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was during the first Bush administration when they decided to roll those back and not teach those as
And the
priority
trades,
classes
too.
and
It should be
trades.
mandatory.
Had the
Yeah.
trades,
It should be
like,
mandatory.
Electrician and stuff in the schools, they took that
Mhm.
away.
Yeah,
too,
they sure
with the
did.
home ec. So
And it
yeah,
only compiled on top of that with the second Bush administration with No Child Left Behind. Then he started taking away other classes such as like math, sciences, social studies, and rolling back on how those were taught. But yeah, home economics classes and building a life outside of school once you're done with that were things that were taught in the 50s, 60s, 70s,
that was
80s.
trades. Like, so that's
Mhm.
just like a carpenter, carpentry, doing
Yeah.
that stuff like that. Electrician.
Welding.
Yeah. So
What do you guys think the big plan is for? What is the reason for them to do that though?
you don't have to pay for college.
I mean, like, why did they take it away?
So you could invest more in college.
Oh, okay.
That's how I
Yeah,
feel.
oh, yeah,
You
no,
know?
that
Like,
makes sense. That
I
makes
feel like it's more so they could take advantage of the ignorance that people are, sad to say, but it's like the more you're blind in the situation, you're going to have to either rely on people like your
Yeah.
parents or external sources
Mhm.
for the information. But in the process, you're going to get burned,
Yeah,
and it's going to be to your detriment, not theirs.
because they're gonna only get paid, and
Yeah.
and
They're getting literally paid off of your ignorance.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Because withholding knowledge and information from certain classes and certain people ensures that they follow a specific pattern in life when it comes to how the grand scheme of layout is when it comes to capitalism, socialism, just the way we live in America here. So it's like the less you know, the more you're willing to be taken advantage of by the people who do have the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Because like if you're 14, 15, 16, just starting high school, and then you get to college and you have no idea how much loans cost, you have no idea how predatory student loans are. So yeah, you guys are gonna give me $200,000 to go to school? Oh, sure, I'm gonna sign that. I'm gonna take that, and then I get money back on that later, without realizing, okay, yeah, I took the 200K now, but now you gotta pay 500K
Yep.
down the line. School's finished.
Yeah.
Interest, deferred payments. It's all a part of the same plan to keep people in a consistent circle of debt and not being able to move forward, even though you have the education now. How are you going to get the education and get the good job if you're stuck paying off loans from 4 or 5 years ago?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate the balance between your personal aspirations and the expectations that were placed on you as a child?
That's a very heavy question.
Can I get that question again?
Sure. How do you navigate the balance between your personal aspirations and the expectations that were placed on you as like growing up?
Okay.
Like you might just say F the expectations that were placed on me. I'm going straight for what I want. Or some people might be a little bit more confined to how they were raised and feel like they can't jump in fully into what they want to do. So
No, I feel like that. I would have to say that growing up, it was more of like I live with my grandmother, so we went to church every Sunday. We wore the slips and everything. So, me doing anything outside of like Christianity wasn't like shame upon, but it was like you need to do, more of serving the Lord. So I feel like balance that off of me actually living my life, being grown, is kind of hard to balance because you still want to have fun, but you also want to, have a religion, you want to serve the Lord and stuff like that too. So I feel like it could be difficult sometimes, but keeping the balance, I would have to say, just making sure that you're doing. I don't know. I would just say it's just a balance.
I don't want to say completely like totally disregard what they're saying or like, my family's saying. But of course, I think life is not one size fits all. I feel like we all have those personal aspirations and those personal dreams for a reason
Yeah.
because we're supposed to do it how we see fit. And if that path doesn't align or doesn't coincide with their vision, I feel we shouldn't be shamed or, feel some kind of way about it. But we should, we can take what they say into consideration and we can, I feel like the balance comes into like, as long as you're following your dreams and you believe in your heart you're doing what's right, then they can't fault you for that. Because if they truly love you and they want to see you happy, you're only going to be happy if you're following your path that you made for yourself.
Yeah.
So,
And I also feel like from like how you was like take what they say, you make it work for you. So listen to what they say. I feel like when people have an input, like the older, like your ancestors or the older, the unks, the aunties, when they have opinions, don't be so quick to be like, man, she don't know what's going on, but just take heed to what they're saying because they have been there and they have did that. Maybe some situation different, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Tomatoes. But I feel like take heed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like taking those experiences and those anecdotes from the older generation definitely does play a key part in listening and navigating how you want to do that. But I also think your late teens and your early 20s are a time for you to find that navigation and that balance for yourself because nobody has it together. Like even when you're 50 or 60, you still don't there's still things you don't know. You're still young in life as even at that point. So I think it's about taking heed to what they say, but also carving out your own path and, making sure that you follow the path that you feel is right for you and just navigating that to the best of your ability.
I would say my mom, something that stuck out with me that my mom used to always say was she just wanted me to have options at the end of the day. So I think as parents, like you want to set up a path that you best know. Like what she knew was college. Like she was in the military and she went to college. So she gonna say maybe not the military because she knew me. Like I was kind of like a badass in school, so it's just like he probably isn't gonna do good in the military. But she just wanted me to go to college and have those options. But I think as time progressed, you kind of learn your kid. Like I said, I make music and I do videography. So I had to turn that into options. You know what I mean? Like I had to see how can I, and I think all children want to make their parents proud, like at some point in some way, shape, or form. All right, if I know in my head, all right, my mom just want me to have options, as in, I would just want you to have a good life. You know what I mean? And not be struggling every day and
But
stuff
you
like
made it
that.
work for you.
Right.
Mhm.
So how can I meet that in the middle? I'm going to take what I know. I'm going to take what I'm good at, and then I'm going to figure out how to have options, as in what she said, but also just to not struggle. You know what I'm saying? Or make my way out of like a struggling situation using what I know. So that's the balance, is just meeting what your expectations of me was, which
It's not to fail,
yeah,
to
it's
be
just
successful, but you're doing it in your way.
It's
I like that. I really
100%, and that's what it came down to. So that's my balance was
alchemy.
yeah.
Straight
You know what I'm
alchemy.
saying?
Yeah,
that's
real
literally
alchemy. I
what it
like
was.
that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some like mental health and managing stress. What are some ways that you've had to basically like maintain your stress or maintain your mental health while handling your responsibilities in life?
Mm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm a really big mental health advocate, and I definitely have spent a lot of time working on my own. So it's for me personally, I definitely work on breathing and, just centering oneself, especially in stressful times. So remembering that, like, the sky isn't always falling, it's actually still there. So I believe in not only just breathing through the core and also just like trying to remain grounded. I also think that taking time out to find joy in the smaller things, even if you are having a hectic day, you said you had a hectic day or a bad day today, it's still trying to find the little sparks of light in that, and then reminding yourself that we're still here, we're still alive, we're still prospering, and we're still moving forward. And that even though time doesn't stop, we have the opportunity to stop ourselves and just find that balance within ourselves and then move from there.
Yeah, I would have to say what I have been doing recently would just be like with hectic days, just making sure that I have 1 minute to myself.
Mhm.
If it's me in the bathroom, just, chilling, or it's me just listening to music or anything, just having that 30 seconds, 10 seconds, or me just coming home from work and just sitting in the car, just having that moment to be like, my breathing, like you said, or
Mhm.
just screaming in the car because I could do
Let it
that.
out.
Let it
Let
out.
it
And
out.
then after that, okay, you got it out. Now you can proceed with your day. So I felt like doing that, taking time, breathing, whatever, meditating, whatever I have to do, 5 seconds, 2 seconds, a minute, 30 minutes, get that to myself. I deserve it. I didn't work for everybody else.
Absolutely.
Everybody else, I deserve at least 30 minutes out of the day.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. I would.
Yeah, no, I'm piggybacking right off of that. Like taking time for yourself is I think bar none. You know what I mean? Like kind of know what it is that you like. Where's your, I mean, not to use a cliche term, but happy place, right? Uh like I like luxury cigar. I don't even know if it's called luxury cigars, but I like cigars, right? And there's some random thing that happened. We can get to that at another time. But I like that. So if like I'm saying I had a long day, right? I just know at the end of the day I'm just gonna sit on my couch. I'm gonna lean back and I'm gonna have some quiet because I like peace. You know what I'm saying? After like that hectic day, and then you do whatever it is that make you feel good inside. Now I do think that you have to make sure that you don't have like a really bad vice, you know what I'm saying, like drinking, overly, you know what I mean, to kind of, if you feel like, all right, well, this is numbing the pain for now, that's something you got to watch out for. But at the end of the day, like you said, like having a time to yourself, having a time to make sure you're feeling good at least an hour out of the day, because we are spending most of our waking time doing something for someone else and ourselves, I'm sure. But that's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely. I know for me personally, aside from like y'all talk about the breathing and the meditation, mine is definitely like creative output, and I feel like that's my thing. So whether I'm writing a song or whether I'm going over a song or thinking of like like some type of script type of situation or something like that, that's where I find myself in like that flow state. It puts me in a very a good aura, and that's kind of how I deal if I am having, and some, even if I'm not having a bad day, even just in general, it just puts me in a higher vibration so I can attract things to me and be of more use to people because now I'm in this glow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I deal with it.
And to piggyback
Flo.
to piggyback off of what you said about I think it's about having healthy coping mechanisms
Yes,
instead of having negative ones, because everybody has their vices. So whether that be drinking, whether that be smoking, whether that be movies or overconsumption of media, it's just about finding a happy balance in between that to where it's not detrimental to you in the long run. So I definitely think finding a healthy coping mechanism is something I think everybody should have. Because like for me, it's going home and playing Hello Kitty. I'm gonna go play Hello Kitty for a bit and just
No.
relax.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, do something where you don't have to think so much. You know what I mean?
Just gotta focus on building my little island and meeting my little friends.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to give Dree a shout out because Dree honestly inspired the topic and pretty much came up with the script for the entire topic. So these dope questions were inspired.
Oh, okay.
In the name of Jesus.
How have you learned to build a solid foundation financially, emotionally, and physically that supports your journey into adulthood? It's like, what tips and tricks have y'all learned along the way that's helping you be where you're at right now?
Have a vision. Know where you want to go. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to be doing stuff. Even if you're good at it, if you don't have any destination, you're gonna find yourself just kind of going in circles. So it's my short little answer for that.
Yeah. Because without a plan, you're just going to be free floating.
Mhm.
And that's honestly a very lost way of thinking. Whether it be writing out a plan or having a mood board, or, even a planner itself just to give yourself a visual representation of where you want to go. It's definitely something I would say is good to have. I would also say another thing I've personally learned about making those things is always have just some cash on hand. Always have cash or something to the side that you can fall back on just in case if plan A didn't work out,
Emergency.
plan B can work out.
Yep.
Yeah. Because without finances, it's going to be rough out here.
Yeah. It's America.
It's America.
Yeah, definitely have some type of formulated plan of action, something realistic that you can implement, but at the same time, there's something in the power of adaptability. And I think that's a key element that a lot of people don't realize that's of high importance. Be able to maneuver in new conditions or new territories, something unexpected happening that you may not have planned for or accounted for. So having that adaptability just allows you to maneuver better.
Absolutely.
I feel like with that comes be optimistic. I feel like that comes with being like adapting to things. You have to have your mind has to be straight, even when you have a destination and a goal. Like I feel like your mind has to be okay. Things are going to happen.
Mhm.
Nothing's going to be perfect. I'm not going to get to point A just like that. I'm gonna have to run. I'm gonna have to crawl. I'm gonna have to do everything to get to where I have to go. So I just feel like just having that mindset of just like I'm gonna get through it. This is what I want to do. I'm gonna get through it, no matter what it is, up and down, whatever I have to do. I'm just gonna do it. So I feel like the mindset as well would have to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say in a sense, it's manifesting
Yeah.
and speaking it into existence. Because you can have everything up here, but if you don't vocalize that and tell that to yourself, then who else besides you is going to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I want to know, for me personally, I'm very thankful that I have a very optimistic and strong, positive mind, but I don't even know how I credit that. So my question would be, how do you get your mind in that condition? How do you get your mind in that state? Because I don't even know why. I don't know if it was bred into me or if it was innate, but like, how does one change a negative mindset to a positive one?
When you get tired, I feel like when you are tired of the same stuff, going through the same thing over and over again, you want change. So change may be not saying that that's going to be worse, but it's going to be better than where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that where you step into is going to be better, like going to be worse than the first time, but it's just going to be better than the last time you came. So I just feel like you just get tired of certain things. I get tired of this. I get tired of that. Okay, how long is it going to take you? How tired are you going to be for you to change?
Right.
So I just feel like that's how I feel to answer the question. Get tired.
It's definitely a choice to have that mindset. I think, at least in my personal POV, I think America in particular is set up for us to have more negative thoughts, like
Absolutely.
everything through the radio, through the TV, anything that we consume, whether it be like on Twitter or X now, you can't scroll anywhere without kind of seeing either something bad. No matter what your algorithm is, they're gonna toss something that is not positive in there, right? Like it might be a bunch of half naked girls up there. It might be somebody dying all the time. You know what I mean? Just depending on whatever it is that you just happen to frequent or whatever. So you have to make a conscious decision to either not feed yourself that stuff or just honestly know like, hey, this is what's happening to me. I think if you just kind of blindly consume what's already kind of put in front of us, you're going to naturally have those negative thoughts. So in adverse, you need to do the opposite. You got to force some positivity within your mind and within your heart, soul, and everything like that.
I feel like detoxing
Yeah.
is really good.
Yep.
From social media. Actually, I am on one right now with
1,000%.
social media.
Mm-hmm.
And
1,000%.
if I am on social media, it's for my business. But to be up there just scrolling and stuff, I feel like social media actually puts this standard of how everything is supposed to be. And if you do not meet this criteria, then you are nothing.
Absolutely.
I mean, they say it in the songs that we're listening to. It's always, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's just like, dang, we the same age.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? It's just like, so I feel like social media is all, detox,
Yeah.
reset your mind to let you know that social media is not real.
Yeah.
So, sometimes we feel like it is real, but it's really not real. Because I can post anything. I have a great life. I'm posting what I want you to see.
Yeah.
So just having a reset, I feel like, from social media, from making you feel any type of way from what you see, what you into, or something like that.
Yeah. It's manipulated perception.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a nutshell. Manipulated perception. Yeah.
Will probably be the last one, unless anything floating on you guys' mind in the meantime.
No, we cooking. We over here
Y'all
cooking.
are cooking.
Yeah, for real. I ain't even gonna hold you, dog. We cooking. But I'm talking. Yeah, cooking.
Even keel. Everybody got very valid points. Educated group here. Not that any other groups have.
For clarification.
You put a lot of thought into your answers too, or a good amount of thought into it, and it's very it's dope. This is dope. All right, so we're gonna go.
Yourself.
Go ahead, pick Alex.
Oh,
You did the pick the last one. Yeah.
sponsored by Big Simple.
Big Super. Got that drink in my cup.
How do you,
Cheers.
Drinking my cup.
how do you approach building and maintaining relationships while ensuring you're not compromising their own goals and stability?
That is a very, very deep question.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, from my own personal experience, it's about having a good foundation of your sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, if you don't know who you are, you can easily be absorbed by somebody else and their goals in their life. And so, I guess when you want to build and maintain relationships, you always have to come in with a certain level of knowing yourself, but also knowing what you're worth and knowing what you will allow and what you won't allow.
Respect yourself.
Yeah, because if you don't respect yourself, you can't expect somebody else to respect you.
Because that's how you get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you end up in, as I feel like I'm gonna sound so old. I feel like that's how people end up in the situationships and talking stages for 7, 8 years when it's like you shouldn't be there if you already know who you are and what you want
Yep.
and what you're willing to withstand and what you're willing to walk away from.
Boundaries.
Yep, having
I
boundaries.
feel like that is it. Like having boundaries. Like, okay, this is what I want. If you don't want it, okay, that's fine. We can just not go that way. I just know this is just what we're doing. We might just like to date or we might just like each other's company. But I know if I'm looking for something for the future, this is not what I'm gonna do with you.
Yep.
So
I also feel like with comes boundaries, you also have to have a sense of like knowing when things aren't getting too selfish. Because I could be a selfish person and be like, I like who you are and I like being around you all the time. So I'm gonna keep us here, knowing that nothing of this is going to nothing's going to flourish from this except where we are right now, and having the wherewithal to know that and then be like, hey, if we can't align here, then we can still be cool and hang out, but we're just gonna go separate paths at that point.
So who do you blame? Do you blame the person that's like, okay, I like where we're at, or do you blame the person that's just like, I'ma change him or I'ma change her? So who's to blame on that?
I wouldn't say blame would be the word that I would use. I would say it'd be shared responsibility of being both adults in that situation and, like we said, having the emotional intelligence and capability to understand what each of you wants, and then if your goals align and that aligns, you guys can flourish. But if it doesn't, knowing when to end that and walk away is the most like key important part, and standing on those boundaries and standing on those standards.
Standing 10 toes.
Yeah,
on
gotta
your
stand on
own self.
business
Yeah,
sometimes.
stand on business, man, for yourself and for the other person. Honestly,
Mhm.
I think self-discipline and consideration, for the other person. Like the other person might fall in love with you within the first week. You know what I mean? And hey, look, I think you're attractive, but my brain not even over there yet. I think you have to say that kind of like up front. But that sounds kind of harsh to tell somebody, hey, like chill off. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you like them, that's where the gray area becomes, because you're like, well, I kind of like you, but you're putting on too much. So, like I said, like being able to stand on your boundaries, but also having a heart to tell the other person for your own sake. Can you relax a little bit, even if it hurts their feelings? Like you got to be okay with having your own feelings hurt, and
Self love.
yeah, self love. Self love, regardless of how it feels. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
I definitely respect that.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. It's a tough world. Yeah.
It is.
Tough crowd.
Mhm.
At what point is it? At what point or what situations would you kind of like? I don't want to say negotiate, but kind of like, all right, so I know what my dreams, my aspirations are, but this person is so important. I maybe would sacrifice 10% of what I have going on to align with this person I care about. Is there any point that happens, or any particular people that would apply to?
I think that's really contextual, depending on who we're talking about. Like if
Well, you tell me, like,
okay.
who would be somebody that falls in the category of somebody I would maybe take off some of my aspirations to
Mhm.
make sure that this relationship is able to be.
I think your child. I think, and that honestly might be,
Children. I feel
yeah,
like that too.
children
I feel
almost
like-
might be the only person.
I would have to say that because I would feel like I do have a child. So me having a child, my child's 12, so it's just like I don't want any more kids. So it's just like meeting somebody is just like who don't have kids or they might want to have kids. It's just like you have to see if that person likes you enough to be like, hey, I'm good. I don't want any more kids either. Or, I just don't want kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's kind of like giving myself as an example of what you would have to do
Yeah.
to see if, hey, this woman has all the qualities I have. It's just that she doesn't want any more kids. Or maybe you never know. We might get down the line 3 more years. I'm like, hey, why not? Like, but you just never know. So it's just, I feel like stuff like that. That would be an example of somebody giving up
Yeah.
something that they might really
Yep.
want for somebody because they are a great woman or a guy or a woman.
Yeah. There's a lot of gray area in that, for sure.
It definitely is gray area, and it definitely is something that's based on different contexts and how the relationship is with you, and that person. Because for me personally, I don't want kids, but I have dated people in the past who do want kids, and that has been something that for me I haven't been willing to, I guess, let up on
Negotiate.
or negotiate about. But I feel like if the person that I am with or the person that I am pursuing does want that, and like we do get to that point down the line where it's something I could reconsider, it would just be something we would have to sit there and talk about, because like it is a
Okay,
major
can I
thing.
say this?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Having kids is serious. They don't
It is
talk about how
how serious it is.
bringing a child into this world and then co-parenting with somebody to have a child, and I feel like that is not talked about. So for you to say that you want to have kids, you don't have kids, right?
I don't.
So you don't, and you don't want to have kids. I respect it because it is a big commitment and it's a big
Absolutely.
responsibility that people don't take lightly. Like, so for you to say that, I'm just like, okay, because
I just made a TikTok about that today, actually, about people who choose to have kids, people who don't, because at the end of the day, it is a choice. And what I will say, what I'm referencing for myself, is that there are some choices you can make that you can take back, but there are other choices that are way more permanent, and children are a permanent choice.
top
And that
10.
is also, it's not even just about the fact that children are like, it's hard to raise a child, especially if it's like on your own or even with a co-parent. You have to understand that that child is going to grow into a person, and that person is going to be someone that is fully autonomous with their own thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
feelings, emotions, and you have to be prepared to accept that. And you have to be prepared to understand that you can't mold your child into who you want them to be. They're going to be who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you can only trust.
You can
that
trust and
what
guide
you-
them.
Yeah, you could trust that what you have instilled to them, that they will do that when they get older. So that's how I feel like with my child, like how you saying, like it's just like I have to let her be her, but I have to trust in myself that I am teaching her. Okay, this is what you have to do. Even though like how I was young, like oh yeah, but I remember everything my grandma told me, my dad told me. I still, you know what I'm saying. So it's just like I respect that. So I get that.
Absolutely.
Um, and then
Did we want to actually be sponsored by Big Sipper?
And
Yes.
they not until they sponsor us.
We can build the promo with them. Like, listen, we haven't released anything. You obviously we don't have your permission. But if y'all want to send us some boxes,
Yes,
some
want to
money.
be our first. Y'all want to be our first Big Sippers?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What we drinking?
Oh my God, we are drinking.
Big sipper.
Yeah.
Big sipper.
And tonight's sponsor is going to be Big Sipper, and today's blend is going to be a red sweet blend.
That was
Shout outs to Big Sipper. Get your box today.
Mine's already gone.
I'm
I
almost
said
there.
big sipping tea.
If we get paid off of sponsorship, for sure.
Well, they got a new room.
Is this a new light?
right.
How you do that?
Cool. All right, so yeah, that's it. Y'all can thank you, sir. Y'all can just be like bye to the camera. I don't know. That's kind of
Bye to the camera.
The millennial.
Church.